How do you know when it's time to pass on the baton for a business that you grew from scratch? This week, we speak to Centonomy founder Waceke Nduati on the ups and downs of running a business. This is She Means Business. I am your host, Claire Munde. Waceke, when we think about financial literacy, we think about you because you've been really involved in this sphere. So I'd like to know a little bit what inspired you to get into the financial literacy space.
Okay. I didn't start by being intentional about starting to teach people about financial literacy. My first business was not Centonomy. So when I left employment, I was doing stocks for people, helping people buy and sell shares on the stock exchange. And when you go into business, you lose your salary, all the comforts of a salary I'd become so used to. Suddenly you're gone, you're not making that kind of money. So that's when I realized, even though I had been working all along, I actually had not saved. I actually didn't make money work for me. Then I just started talking to people. Then that's when I realized actually everybody has this problem. So I started doing one-on-one coaching with people, helping them on their financial plan. And remember, at the same time, I'm dealing with my own personal financial mess. And in time, it just became simpler to have more people sitting together so that they can talk to each other, but then we can teach them the same thing at the same time. And that's how I got into financial literacy. And when we decided it's wealth creation, because at first it was saving, but we want people to do more than save. It's about how do you actually get financial freedom, financial security. That's when also entrepreneurship came in, because you can also do this through a business. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about what does financial freedom mean. And you're saying that, you know, you are going through this whole thing on your own as well.
Yeah.
You hadn't saved and you realized a number of people are going through it.
Yeah.
So what point did you get out of, okay, I'm living maybe month to month or whatnot, and now I'm at that space where I'm comfortable financially. And what does financial freedom even mean?
Okay, I think it starts with understanding the small things that are making your situation the way it is. And for me, it was a simple calculation like lunch money. And I give this example often where I realized now when I didn't have money, because when you don't have money, that's when you realize what you could have done with the money you had, 300 shillings a day on lunch at that time. This was, we're saying, about 16 years ago. Then I did the maths, times 30, 9,000, times 12, 108,000 shillings. So financial freedom is realizing what can I do with that 108,000 shillings. And then you take it further and say, what is it that I actually want? Because even in my book, Making Sense, I write money is a tool, but in itself, it's not the life. So financial freedom for me is first understanding what do you want? What do you value? And then let money become a tool for that. And for most people, if you ask them today, if you stopped working today, can you sustain your lifestyle? So if you're earning 50,000 shillings a month, 100,000 shillings a month, what happens the day you don't have that job? So working towards wealth creation or financial freedom is saying, even though I was not working, I have invested so that I still have 100,000 shillings coming per month to pay my rent, my bills, etc. So I'm not worried about the day to day. So you asked about my own journey. Has that happened? Yes, but I'm an entrepreneur. So for entrepreneurs, it also happens a bit differently, where you go through ups and downs. And I think entrepreneurship has taught me financial freedom is also the confidence to know that even if you're knocked back, you can get up again. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about, you know, you were talking about that lunch money back in the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's this Pennywise pound foolish. At what point do you say that, okay, this 100 bob I'm putting aside every day is going to help me versus I actually need a certain amount to get to that financial freedom? Because sometimes it's made to look like just put that 100 bob, 300 bob, 500 bob, and then you will finally get to that financial freedom. But it's not true for everyone. So at what level should we really be thinking about getting to that financial freedom? How much do we need to be putting aside and stuff like that?
Okay, I like that question. First of all, you can't get there by always thinking about the penny. Let me make that very clear. So it's not always thinking about how do I, because there's only so much cutting, especially now, what people are going through, that you can actually do. So the mindset that you actually have to get into is what I actually call an abundance mindset, saying, today this is what I have, but in 3 years, I would like to be, and let's say you're earning 50,000 shillings today, but in 3 years, I'd like to be earning 200,000 shillings. What do I have to start doing now to generate that? This is what we have found in Centonomy, teaching people about money. People are not intentional. They don't set those plans in place, and which requires you get out of your comfort zone. So the first thing could be you making sure you can cut your spending where it needs to be cut. Sometimes it's just wasting. We're just wasting a lot of money. But the most important thing is, what do I do so that I can grow my income? What do I do so that I can grow my knowledge of how to make money work? If I'm running a business, what do I do so that I can grow my business? Because you can't shrink into greatness. You can't keep smaller, 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 smaller. And then to do that, people have to expose themselves to different things, different environments, different conversations. If you keep talking about how broke you are with the same people you talk about being how broke, then you're going to be broke. So why are you surprised you're broke? Yeah. So you have to step out of your comfort zone. Is there a skill you need to acquire? So I think for me, especially because of running a business, the biggest thing the business has been is about growth in character. And once you grow your character, then even though life will keep lifing, even though you go through ups and downs, you know, where I have evolved to, I can pick myself up again. And I think that's, the freedom can never be in, we put money in banks and banks have gone down, that this money will stay as is forever. The freedom is actually knowing in who I am becoming, even in all these challenges, what I'm exposing myself to, I am becoming that person that can actually get up again. But as to how much do you put, if what I was to give a rough calculation, and I'm going to pin it to retirement, let's talk about retirement, because that's where most people will end up, and being able to survive without having a job, an active job, you should start thinking about 30% of your income. Now, this is very dependent on very many factors, including how you want to live, whether you have children in college and all that, but 30%. And don't be scared of the number I'm saying. And this is what I mean. If you're earning 100,000 shillings, work towards putting 30,000 shillings a month. If you can't do it, clearly it's a mistake people make. They listen to me saying that, and I was like, never, it's Waceke mad. In this economy, I put 30, we've got which levies, we've got shift. I mean, there's so many things, yeah? What can you start with? Can you start with 10? Do that. And then start building it up and grow your sources of income. Even if you have a job, what else can you do on the weekends that earn you money? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Start where you're at. And I like that you can't shrink into greatness. Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the unique challenges that women face in business. You've been in business. Tell me, what are some of those unique challenges that you've faced growing a business, and how have you overcome them?
Okay, sometimes women tend to be very risk averse. We like security a lot. And so let me talk about the different stages. So now you're in startup. Startup is literally, you do not know what is going to happen. I had to leave my job, which was comfortable, and start business. I had to leave my first business to start this business. So it is a place where we have to, because we like knowing, if I do this, this will actually happen. We have to be willing to take some risk. So sometimes the barriers are internal. So that fear we have to let go of, and that I can't do it unless somebody else is helping me or somebody else is doing it for me, we have to let go. So that's the first barrier people face. Now, when you're in the business as a woman, I didn't realize how tricky this would be. You always hear work-life balance, but it never quite hit me until, you know, I had family, until, you know, you still have social obligations, still you meet your chama, you have your parents, and you realize as a woman, there's so many things you're handling. I was once in a board meeting where I got a text, gas imeisha. The other men in the meeting were not getting that. And you know, I had to, for a split second, I couldn't concentrate until So we are juggling so many things. So one, I learned to stop putting pressure on myself to be perfect. Nobody will die if there's no bread in the house. And then start asking for help and start delegating what you can delegate. Remember, you are human. You deserve rest like anybody else, so give yourself permission to say, what do I need? I think that also dictated some of the decisions I made in my business, especially after having failed in the first business, and I realized that first business was a lot about me, I was very intentional with Centonomy that this business will run without me. So in order to handle that, but it has become better for the company, I was like, I cannot do everything. So even as a woman, as you're starting your business, you know the other obligations you have. Please do not build a business that is going to be solely reliant on you all the time. If the customers come to the shop, unless you're there, they won't buy, or they come to your office, unless you're there, they won't deal with anybody else. You're setting yourself up for failure. This is not just women, everybody, but also the other obligations outside of the business, the personal. Learn the word no. Can you come to which and this function? No. Start being very intentional. What is important, what is not important, and what can you delegate to people? Bread needs to be in the house. I understand that. Do you personally have to be the one who gets bread into the house? Yeah.
I think that's important, that delegation part. And we'll get to that work-life balance, but I'd like to talk a little bit about the business. You said you started as a startup, you and whatnot, and we know you were the CEO of Centonomy, and then now you passed on the baton. Now, tell me, what are those things that you're thinking about before deciding, you know what, I've grown this from scratch, I built it, it's something, and now it's time for me to pass on? Because, you know, there's this founder mode. You're like, this is my baby, I've grown this thing, I want to be part of it forever. So what are those decisions that you need to look at before deciding, okay, I've grown this, and now I'm still the founder, I still have some shares in it or whatever, but now it's time for me to now let somebody else lead this organization?
In fact, I'll add something, together with this answer, I'll add something to the challenges women face because it's related, I want all women listening to this to note this word down, value, okay? So the challenges as a woman that I found out there, people want to say, give me a discount. Especially as a woman, a man won't be asked for a discount, but they'll ask you for a discount, and most likely you'll start giving them a discount. So it took me a long time to be able to say, no, I'm not giving you a discount, and if I am, what are you giving me in return? So it's a value to value discussion rather than me feeling that my service or my product is worth less. And women are made to feel that a lot easier. So with this succession, choosing a CEO, I got to the point of, first, I've run the business, but you ask yourself, what is the best value I can give in the business? So first, women don't give themselves props early enough. It takes them a long time to accept they're actually doing work. It took me a long time. People are coming to Centonomy and saying, oh, my life has changed. People are reading the book and saying, oh, my life has changed. I've gotten out of debt. My business is thriving and I'm employing. And I'm still going through imposter syndrome, despite all that. But at some point, I looked, where is my time best spent on my business? Remove all this I should be doing, I still don't feel I'm successful enough. Remove all that. What's the best value I can give? The best value I can give to Centonomy is now leverage on the relationships I have. The best value I can give to Centonomy, first of all, is also to take some time out to think about the new direction and research, is to create content and see where this goes. And that takes time. I can do all the other execution and operational stuff I was doing, but that's not where I thrive in the most. But this other part I thrive. So it also comes from knowing yourself. These are my strengths. And it happened after 10 years in the business. I could tell these are my strengths. This I can manage to do, but I'm not thriving in the execution and operation side. But the business itself needs that. So separate yourself from the business. The business will need things that are outside of you. And I think because of the way we started Centonomy, it was running classes. You know, on a Saturday morning, we could be running 5 sessions, sometimes in different cities. It had to go past Waceke. And now at the point, this business needs to keep being efficient. Operations need to run, but am I the best person to actually do it? And I wasn't. But I'm the best person to do the strategy, the creative direction, the networking, and be the visionary, the one who takes time to think about what's happening in the world and where do we need to position ourselves. So it came from understanding what value does a business need outside of Waceke, because this business must run without Waceke. But what's the value Waceke can actually give? And that's where the decision to have a CEO came in.
Wow,
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting. It takes a lot of self-awareness
Yeah.
and, you know,
Yes.
courage to say, okay,
Yes.
let me handle something else and
Yeah.
let someone run this. And you've talked about value, but sometimes some people feel like it's a very far off ideas,
Yeah.
because sometimes someone is just struggling to make ends meet,
Yeah.
and they're thinking, okay, yes, I know I have this value to give, but then if that person is asking for a discount and whatnot, and I don't have any other means of getting money, I'd rather take this little than have nothing at all. So what do you say to women in business or in employment or elsewhere who know their value, but they're like, if I don't get this, what if I don't get something else?
It's so hard. It is not easy. First of all, yes, in the beginning, you have to pay school fees. So in the beginning, you may take those discounts because you're saying, okay, you're testing yourself. So you have to know when is the point when you have finished testing yourself. The exam has been done. You have gotten your A, and it is time to move on. This is what it will take. Imagine you will say no to some people. I have said no to some clients shaking because I know if I don't get this job, I won't be able to pay salaries. So it is such a conviction that comes from internally that said, I have to say no because the message to myself is, if I keep saying yes, I'll keep saying yes forever. And that's what people will come to expect of me. But if my product is actually worth this, and let me tell you, when you say no, what I have found, doors open for the people who will come and actually say yes to you. Yeah. So it's not going to come comfortably. You won't have a lot of money in the bank and then say, woohoo, now I can say no. But you will know, you yourself will know something is not right with this engagement.
Now, I want us to talk a little bit about work-life balance, but before that, let's speak a little bit about some of the failures. What has been the biggest failure that you've had in business, and how did you move from that? Because you talked about a business that failed before you started this. So tell us about the biggest failure and the biggest lesson you learned from that.
Okay, wow, we could spend, the 3 hours talking about my failures. I think in summary, it comes out in so many ways. It is failure to let go quickly enough. Yeah. So this could be an idea that is just not working out, a product that is just not working out, a team member in the organization that is just not working out, but you're holding on to them. And I think that's where my biggest failures have been, because that has come from a belief that I need them. Sometimes it's a toxic client that you just have to let go. So my failure came from, I want to please everybody. And you see, I came with that baggage. By the way, everybody, men, women will come with baggage and it will enter their business, and mine was people pleasing. I want to please people so much that I fail to see that they are not a right fit. I want to please a client so much that they're not a right fit. I'm holding on to a product, a service, because I started it. So, but it's bleeding money left, right, and center. Holding on to infrastructure. Like when COVID came, we still had this big office for 2 years, which I could have let go earlier and saved us a lot of money. So I didn't let go quickly enough. So it's just understanding this is not working. I have to let go and move space for everything else. But also I failed in not understanding the positives that were happening fast enough. It took us a long time as Centonomy to start owning. We have empowered. We have empowered over 500,000 people. Yeah, it took us a long, and there's a lot of impact in that. Other people have empowered, 50 people, and they scream about it. Yeah,
Yes.
We've done all this, and it's now, as we approach 16, we're starting to realize the impact of what it is that we're doing. It took me a long time to realize that. My failure was not realizing, even me, how I'm evolving. So even when I was telling you about standing up, sometimes I was taken advantage of because I was not realizing how good I have become. So I'd like everybody, especially women, to actually own it. You are the best at what you do. It doesn't remove anybody else's right to be the best, but along the way you are becoming an expert at what you do. So enter that space and actually own it. Wow. I wish I did that earlier. I wish somebody had told me, Sheke, 2 years and you've been doing this consistently. Own it. Now own it. Call yourself the thought leader. Call yourself the expert. The first time I was called a thought leader, I was like, who are you talking about? Someone else had to point it out to me. Yeah.
Wow.
And also, the things that you think are weaknesses are actually strengths. I used to say I procrastinate a lot. So people say, what are your wicked procrastinators? Then I'd beat myself down. Oh, Sheke, here you are procrastinating. Then I went for a program where they made several people write about me, including my teammate, my family, and they all said the same thing. We admire Waceke's ability to think and reflect before making decisions. I called it procrastination. So women, those things you're calling weaknesses are actually strengths, and that is what you should do and use in your business. What is your strength? Not qualifications. Anybody can be an accountant.
Yes.
But not everybody can think and reflect before making decisions. Not everybody can be creative. Not everybody can be as organized. Not everybody can be as a good listener. So name your skills without the qualification attached to it. Yeah.
I like that, looking at it from a different aspect.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need people to actually tell you those things.
You need people to sometimes to point it. So actually that's a good advice. Get people to tell you, what do you think my strengths are?
Yeah.
We talk about weaknesses a lot. It's even you ask someone their weaknesses, they know them even before. But strengths, I've sat in people in a room and I've said, talk about yourself, but without weaknesses. They don't know how to talk about themselves without weaknesses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now let's talk a little bit about work-life balance. You alluded to it a little bit earlier. So tell us, what have been some of those challenges running a business and having a family, and what advice could you give to women who are also in that space, trying to raise a family, run a business, or are in employment, and how can they navigate? You spoke about delegation and whatnot. Yeah.
Because the resource we are managing here is time. Unfortunately, no matter how busy you are, you don't get more than 24 hours a day. No matter how much money you make, you don't get more than 24 hours a day. And if you know, and we can cut it down to 16 if you're going to have a healthy level of sleep life as well. So it's not even 24 hours a day. Yeah? So it's about, what do I do with that time? Yeah, and I like people starting to think about what is going to be my return on time. So work-life balance for me started by giving myself permission to almost fuel myself so that I can perform in all these areas. It really hit home when I got my son, because I'm working, because he came just after Centonomy had started. I'm working. Saturday, it was a work day. Yeah. Sunday, even the help you had in the house has gone. Then Monday is there. And I'm like, what? I'm exhausted. Yeah. So I started taking Mondays off. And that became the first time I thought about work-life balance. And I was like, to do this, I need a day where I recharge. Don't call me, don't text me, nothing. It's not a work day. And I felt so guilty about it. So you're going to feel guilty about giving yourself what you need. So first start with, what do you need? You, not your kids, not your business, not your spouse, not your in-laws, not your friends. What do you need to function? And for me, it's time alone. Remember I told you my gift is ability to think and reflect before making decisions. But if I'm burnt out, I can't even think and reflect. So it was really about, I need that time. That then became, at the end of the year, I go away by myself to the coast for 7 days. But then in between, start asking yourself, what fuels me? Is it time to read a book? Is it time to watch a movie? And this is the thing, this is a hard truth. You are not going to finish all the things that you're supposed to do, and then there'll be some left over 2 hours. You have to say, I'm actually taking the 2 hours first. Then everything else will come. And some people will be saying, but the business, it won't give me time. There is very little difference between what will happen if there's nothing that won't happen because you gave yourself 2 hours. There's nothing that won't happen because, in fact, what you'll find is that you'll actually perform better because you're clearer, because you've been fueled, you have energy. A car can't go on the road without fuel. So even you need your fuel. And fuel is different for different people. I'm an introvert, so it's really about time alone. But there are other people who, for them, their fuel is being out with people. So whatever it is that works for you. My faith and spirituality are a big part of my work-life balance. I always say I built Centonomy with God. Yeah, it was built through God, by Him, and all glory to Him. But time to sit with God and just talk to God has been a big part of that. And then just do things that you enjoy along the way. I scuba dive. So when I found this going to the ocean, now scuba diving found me. I like traveling, I like reading. So plan your life also around what you want to do. If you want to have a holiday at the end of the year, in January, plan it. Don't let it happen as a by the way. Yeah.
Okay, that's some good advice. Yeah. Now tell me, what has been your biggest accomplishment? And tell me also, what does success mean to you?
Okay, I think the answer for those is wrapped in the same. My biggest accomplishment has been understanding the gift that comes when you evolve as a person. And I'll just use work for an example. When I started one-on-one, then I became a teacher. Let me just say the roles, the gift Centonomy has given me, I became a teacher. Then I became an author. Then now I have a podcast. Then, you see, but all that has been about me evolving and understanding you're not just one thing. So success for me means that I get to leave this world. By the time I'm entering, it's my last minute here, I can say I did all of me. Everything I was meant to do. Oh, then you can scuba dive as well. Everything I was meant to do, everything that God put in me as an individual, I have left it. I have experienced it. In terms of work, it's really about, we have an underlying message in everything we do at Centonomy, in my book, in my podcast, everything. It's, I want to teach abundance, I want to live abundance, and I want to be abundance. I don't believe in scarcity. It's out there in the world, but it's, can I teach people how to think outside their limitations? Can I live a life that is outside of my own limitations? Can I experience myself outside of limitations? And the success that I have seen, now let me talk about Centonomy success, has really been not our profit and loss, not how many people are in the office, not the size of the office we have, yeah, not how many people know us. The success has been in someone saying, you saved my marriage because of that YouTube video I watched. It's, I'm no longer crushed by debt because of what you did. My business has 1 employee, now we are 10 employees, we're in 3 countries because of what you have taught me. Or you even taught me that business is not right for me, but this is the business that is right for me. It has been in the people that have joined me on this crazy vision of Centonomy. The team at Centonomy, the present team is fantastic. Nothing would happen. And when I see them working, thriving, remember this business runs without me. So it's not just about having a CEO. Everybody has taken ownership of things. They are bringing ideas to the table and sitting and thinking, oh my goodness, I could never have thought of that. Oh my goodness, I walk into that office, I tell you, I'm like, what is happening? In fact, I'm the stranger. I don't even have a place to sit, honestly speaking. Yeah, what is going on? So seeing people who are coming into their own simply because of something that you started is amazing. When I bring my son over and he attends Centonomy functions and he's learning and he's absorbing that, he's sitting on the table selling books with me, that picture for me is success. And still having hope, no matter how dark sometimes things are, still seeing, vision is a very irritating journey because even though you reach a certain point, you're like, oh, we are so far, because you keep seeing something else, but I like it because it pushes me forward. Sometimes I don't know how to do it, but I'm like, oh, but we still can, now we can take that and now make it also this. So that, still having that vision, that drive, that energy, that is actually success to me. Then everything that else comes, whether it's money, whether it's the people know or influence, that goes up and down depending on the season and the day. But this, the impact to people, the impact to my life, the impact to how I see myself has been the real success of Centonomy.
Wow, okay,
Yeah.
thanks. I think you've spoken about legacy there.
Yeah.
So maybe as we wrap up, what will you tell that businesswoman or that person in employment about just reaching for those goals that they have and knowing their value?
Yeah, I think there's something, anybody watching this, maybe who follows this show or is watching me today or has watched other women who have come on this program, the reason you watch this already is because there's something that has been bothering you that is not going away. That's why you're watching to see who else cracked it. And if either of us who have been on the show has cracked even one thing that you've been facing, go for it. So there are those who are sitting in the office, then they want to start something, but don't know the how. Start with one. Start with developing that product. Start with testing it out. Don't wait for I must have 1 million shillings or I must have 100 clients before I start. Actually start, yeah? The other thing is take confidence in the fact that who you are becoming is what is needed. You are what is actually needed, not what you have. So who is it that you have become? Whatever transition you've been through, people have been through personal challenges left, right, and center. I have been through my fair share. And they keep making me stronger and becoming better at who I'm meant to be. That is actually what is enough. Then go out and seek the knowledge. You can't do this alone. I could never have figured out Centonomy alone. I could never have written a book by myself, yeah? Go out and seek the knowledge. Go out and seek the partners. Look for trusted people that you can tell your idea or tell the situation your business is in, and they'll give you an answer, something you've never thought about. And people sit and think, oh it's me who is a failure. You are not a failure. I think everything I've said, you've seen, I've turned all the failures into something that is working for me, yeah? It's just a lesson you needed to learn. So stop sitting there and thinking that you're alone, you're the only one facing this. If you're in business, please have a network of entrepreneurs that you talk honestly with and say, today I really messed up. People you can actually tell that, or they can tell you I really messed up. Having that support network for me really, really, really helped, especially women entrepreneurs, because then we can talk about the unique challenges that women actually go through. But go out and learn. Information is there. Courses are there. Centonomy Entrepreneur, we do a course on entrepreneurship. Go out and learn. Move out of your comfort zone. And something good will definitely come out of it.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've heard it from Waceke. Don't do it alone. Know your value and you cannot shrink yourself to greatness. This has been She Means Business. I have been your host, Claire Munde. Next time.
To watch this story and more, download the Citizen Digital app today.
Kenya's #1 app, Citizen Digital.